Hello everyone and welcome to the debut of Breakout Racing League APAC. Today we have got 10 drivers who will be taking the streets of Austria as a find for success here to start off the season. I am Nams and I will be commentating for you here at the Ostrich Ring, whatever it's called. I am just waiting to see if I am not talking to myself, and it is, if the stream is actually still underway, so I will be 1 second. Okay, good, I am not talking to myself. Hello and welcome to the first race of the season. We have got 10 of the best Oceania drivers here in the rain. It is going to be an intense race, as we can already see WF1 Ricardo on the dries as the rain is starting to pour down. Heavy rain for the start of the race is what I've just been told. As a look at WF1 Ricardo, everyone's going to be aiming to get out on the track as soon as possible, even though WF1 Ricardo is the only one at the moment, as setting a lap right now in the next 3 minutes could determine the grid, as Death has actually lagged out. But this race is going to be interesting. BRL, Breakout Racing League, if you haven't heard, are they've been running actually quite for a long time, and the Oceania side has only just started to pick up now. This will be a custom calendar, as the first race, as you can see here, is in Austria. And if we look at the conditions, I think it is starting to get a bit worse, as everyone is on currently the dry compound of tyre, but WF1 Ricardo is the only one out on track, just getting some early running here. Some history of the Austrian Grand Prix. It has been held at two different locations in the Zeltweg Arena, located in Spielberg in southeastern Austria. It was first held at an airfield there for 2 years, then a permanent track called the Ostrich Ring was built in 1969, and Formula One first raced there in 1970, as WF1 Ricardo has already spun it and is currently, he's lost his front wing, so it looks like everyone is going to be really struggling to get any kind of running out there, as he's lost his front wing. Luckily, to keep the car going in a straight line, full damage will be used here for the whole season, as most league races do. We got 10 drivers, so let me introduce them. So the first driver who we're going to introduce is currently the only one who has started a lap, WF1 Ricardo in the Renault. As a Ricardo fan, he adores that car. Then running the number 2 for this season, he has not got his season up to a good start, but his helmet also has colours. Second, we have got New Zealand Venom in the McLaren. He will be partnering up with Alan Hugo as well, most likely the strongest partnering in the field currently, and I can't remember what number he's running, but he and Alan Hugo will not want to be second best to each other, so it's going to be an interesting pairing. We've got DRC Jared, should I say, with Pete in the 2 Ferraris. That'll be an interesting combination, but based on previous pace, it seems like Jared might have the edge over his teammate for this season, but Pete, he's an driver. I've been told that he's learning no assists with this league, so make sure to look out for him. We've got I'm Death Pro, who is also partnering up with WF1 Ricardo in the Renault team, so they're also a very strong pairing, as 2 of them are on the hard tyres. It looks like the track, if you look on board with methods, it looks like it might be drying out a little bit as look at the grip, it's just not there. It's not there for the drivers at the moment, as BRL methods, as we'll go towards him now. In the Mercedes, he is with Master Berserk, but Master Berserk is not racing here today. Number 69 for BRL methods, can't see why. But Miwadi in the he's in the I nearly said Force India Racing Point for this season. I don't know what number he has, because I haven't checked, to be honest, and I'm not going to check, because that would just make me not talk, and that would just be boring for you guys. But he will be in the Racing Point, and as BRL Methods is the first one to lay a time down, a 1 minute 13 dead. Based on while watching some of these guys practice, pole in normal conditions would be a mid to low 4, I believe, as some of the drivers also going out on track to start their laps. We've got New Zealand Venom on his outlap. He's his pace on F1 2018 was. It was good, it was solid, but I think for this game he's going to want to be stepping it up a bit of stepping it up a notch, as he is in a request for success. DCR Jared on the mediums currently. He is on paper the quickest driver here. Anything can happen, as we've already seen in qualifying. The track it's starting to dry up. I think it is obviously it's a weird crossover point because the inters I don't think are quicker than the dries, obviously because there's not enough moisture on the track. But I don't know if the mediums is the right choice because you know they're going to be really cold with the dampness of the track. But he's going to be going on anyway. But we've got currently 4 drivers out on track. The rest are not out on track, which does give me an indication that the track might be drying throughout the session. Yes, we've got Jared who is going to start his lap. We'll go on board for his lap to see what the conditions are like. As coming into turn 1, he keeps it in 7th gear. Not enough traction out of the last corner to get it into 8th, braking down into 4th gear. You can see the car understeering everywhere, and he nearly loses the car, and he's just about gotten the power in time. Yeah, the conditions are very not suited to dries, but they're not suited to the inters either, so this is going to be an interesting qualifying session, breaking down into turn 3 because that little kink before is actually turn 2. You can see on the traction he's just having to fight the car everywhere to get any sort of traction as he holds it in 0 ERS, so he's just getting a feel for the conditions right now. And now coming down into this next corner, taking it in 3rd gear, 2nd to get the turn in, and then back up to 3rd on the exit. Really squirmy. It looks like he is struggling at the moment as New Zealand Venom lags out of the lobby. He'll probably get hit by it again, but he looks like he is really struggling for grip. You can see the understeer, the car's just sliding. Jared's telling the car to go one way, but the car's going the other. So we're coming into the penultimate last 2 corners in the full dry. This is a great 2 sections of corners, but this lap has not been perfect from Jared. He's still probably going to go within a second of pole, I think he is, and he does a 1 minute 13.4, 4/10 off BRL methods at the moment. But the track, I assume that if the track dries, we can probably get a 1 minute 7 or 6, because it looks like the rain is still here for a little bit. We'll go on board with Top Anta 07. He is also racing today. He is a reserve, as he will not be able to make it to both races. He is, as Wadey does a 1 minute 11 dead, so the track is improving. Or Wadey can just keep a clean lap without overheating the tyres or going wide or any of that jazz, as we've got the Williams of Top Anta running, I believe, can't see what number, as look at these, just fighting the car. This is the perfect conditions for someone who is spectating as myself. But the Williams driver coming into the last corner now. This might actually be pole, as he's really struggling to get the power down, and he does do a 1 minute 10.7, but it wasn't validated. So with the track improving, the later the drivers are setting their laps, the quicker they are going. As all Top Anta nearly losing the car there, trying to open the DRS too early and just about got out of it. Pete has decided to come out in the Ferrari. He's one to watch this season, as he will be practicing no assists, and look at that, you can tell he's practicing. This is probably the worst conditions he can be using to start the season off. He's backing off, he's probably waiting for the grip to come, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to come any sooner, as we'll go on board with him for a lap, as everyone is just biding their time in the pits at the moment. No one really rushing, as I mean, I said the track looked like it was improving, but it looks like it's getting worse again, so it's going to be interesting towards the end of the session. We're going to have a really mixed up grid here for the race. Coming down into corner 1, it's pretty clean from Pete as he opens the DRS as soon as he can. Coming up, he will put it into 8th gear, as Jared decided not to, so it looks like he's got a better exit based on that. And a 16.8 in sector 1, as you can just see the car sliding, not having any grip, as Top Anta does a 1 minute 10.2, which means the track is improving throughout the session. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go. And Pete coming down in to, he's not using number 21 for the end. He's nearly lost the car there, just about keeping it in a straight line, as the conditions are all over the place. I predict that certain drivers like Alan Hugo, who's also on his outlap now, is the only drivers who haven't gone out on track yet. Is Gold Power, as there's yellow flags in sector 2. I don't know exactly what that's for. I think someone might have spun, but Pete, he's backed off, so he's going to try again if he has enough fuel, which I believe he does, as his spanner is not indicating any sort of issues, so he will be staying out and doing another lap. We're going to go on board with Death is just doing laps on the hard tyres at the moment. I'm Death Row in the Renault using number 39 for this season. This is almost one of the smartest ways to do it. This is the main occurrence is Banter does a 1 minute 9.1, so he is, as the crowd goes wild over that, that's only about 5 seconds, just under 5 seconds off what I predict pole will be in normal conditions. As Death does a 10.3 on hards, so the track isn't improving. If we go on board with him, the rain has stopped. There's yellow flags as well, so the rain has stopped. So for the last 7 minutes, it's all about how much the track can improve, as this will be an indication to what Death can do. So we'll go on board with him into the hairpin to see what the car is like. It's not as slidey, obviously it'll be very greasy on the traction zones. Getting on the power will be very difficult, but he's using 4 ERS, so he's not using all the ERS that he could at the moment, but it looks like all the drivers now are going out on track. We've got Alan Hugo who's coming through the final corner now, as Pete does a 1 minute 8.2. He's coming to the line, and Alan Hugo does a 1 minute 7.3, but it wasn't validated. So we're going to go on board with Death as he finishes his lap now. Coming in to start sector 3, he's gone wide, which will lose him a little bit more time, as we've got a McLaren right behind him of New Zealand Venom. We'll go on board with him, as actually no, he is way down on any time. I think he might have spun it, he might have been the yellow flags in sector 2. But he will be starting his lap now. I know he's really looking forward to this season. He's looking for some good results. He's very, very unrealistic, in my opinion, on his predictions on what he can do. But when he does get it right, and when he gets a lap right, it can be a very, very good race. So we'll go on board with him for this lap. 16.8 was what Death was doing. He's done a 16.2, which is only a couple tenths off what you would be doing in the dry. High 15 would be a dry time, so they're not that far off the dries, but sector 2 is where you'll lose probably most of the time compared to when it's fully dry. But I suspect if you go on board with the sun not out, the sun will not be clearing up much of the wet weather, as it does look pretty bone dry to me now. But Venom coming through to end sector 2. The track does look pretty quick now, as the second sector is a 45.2. He is currently 12 seconds up on his time, which would at the moment put him P1 even if he doesn't improve it any further. Coming into the last 2 corners, it's great to go on board as he throws the car in 6th gear, going down into 4th gear, a bit understeering on the exit, and then into 5th gear. As he crosses the line, he does a 1 minute 5.1, which is an indication that the track is, I'd say, practically bone dry now. Like 5 minutes to go, so people can probably get 2 runs in. If they go out now. I'm going to go on board with WF1 Ricardo, who is, I think, coming to an end of the lap. He's taking it very cautiously as he comes into the last corner. Just getting any time on the board will be crucial for him as he finishes lap and does a 1 minute 6.4, which puts him P2 at the moment. DCR Jared is starting his lap. He is on paper probably the quickest here, so we're going to go on board with him for a lap as we'll see what he does. In sector 1, Venom did a 16.2. and he does a 15.9, so he's 3 tenths up in sector 1 compared to Venom, but he goes a little bit wide. I don't know if that's his racing line, because you can take a wide line and go for a better exit. But Jared in the gold, white, I think it's the yellow and black helmet, coming down into the mid of sector 1. A little bit of a lock-up, but I think the track is practically bone dry now. So this is going to be, the last 4 minutes are going to be very interesting, so people are going to have to get good laps in. As Jared for a second sector goes a little bit, I don't know if that's invalidated or not. 4 seconds up at the moment, so that would at the moment get him P3, but this last 2 corners he's probably going to gain a lot of time. We're going to go board with him as he chucks the car in. He's actually taking it very cautiously, and he comes back into the pit, so he's going to have one go at this, is Jared, but the only car on track at the moment is WF1 Ricardo, as he is also coming into the pits. Pete is on his out lap, so he is going to be the first one to probably do their final run here today. So his teammate comes into the pits, bails as he is about to start his lap. 3 minutes 20 on the clock now, so anyone who goes out now will have to do their last run. So everyone from about 3rd downwards has to get a clean lap, otherwise they could be any of them could be last on the grid here today. But Pete, who breaks into the last corner to start his run, he'll be the first of 10 drivers to set their final run. Coming down into turn 1, he keeps it, he does shift up to 8th gear, coming into turn 1. 4th gear, that's a very, very quick. The amount of downforce the cars have these days are ridiculous, but there's yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. I think that's just someone waiting up. But he does a 16.4, he's 2/10 up in sector 1. So he's currently half a second down on what Jared did a minute ago. So at the moment, as long as he improves, that's probably all he cares about right now. But coming down into, I believe it's turn 5, breaking down, he's gonna, no, he's not gone a bit wide, he's held the car quite nicely through there. And he is going to be putting up the gears all the way into 6th and then sweeping the car in. You can see the back end still trying to get away from him. He's still turning the car as he's 1.6 seconds up. So at the moment he would be near WF1 Ricardo when he does set his lap, as there's yellow flag in sector 2, people wanting to go as late as they can. Then coming into the last 2 corners, flicking it right, and then flicking it right again into 4th gear he uses. Coming onto the traction, onto the power. Where does he put his car? He puts it into P2 at 1 minute 5.6. So he is the first of many. We've got I'm Death Bro, who's in sector 2. We're going to go on methods because I know that he was near the end of his lap. He is currently in 4th place. He is 1.4 seconds up. So him as well will be putting himself near Pete and WF1 Ricardo. He's using all of the ERS he can, not much usage left, and then coming into these last 2 corners, flicking it right and then right again. As I've said many times this qualifying session, but it is such an amazing 2 corners on the calendar, as he looks like he does improve, but he's just about 10th. And Death Row also, he is going to cross the line now, and he did improve 1 minute 5.2, which would have put him 2nd, but he does have enough time to go again, as we've got Wadey, who is 1 second up to begin his mid sector 2 now. He's currently in P7, so he's got to improve and not invalidate his time, as he will have time for one more if he has enough fuel in the car. But using 0 ERS, the car is still understeering. At the end of sector 2, he is currently 3.9 seconds up. 4 seconds up, nearly, and he's nearly lost the car, and he has lost the car. So he will, unless he can get the car in a straight line and has enough fuel, he will probably not be going again, and that will be him at the back of the grid. We've got Gold Power, who's done a 16.2. In sector 1, breaking into turn 5 using number 89, obviously his gamer tag being 89. He is him and Hugo are the only people not to set a lap time at the moment, as he's coming through into sector 2. I'm predicting he's going to be 10 seconds up. I can't actually tell because he hasn't set a lap time. But we've got Top Banter, he does a 1 minute 4.7 to go provisional pole. That is a great lap time from the 14-year-old, I believe. Into the last 2 corners, Gold Power. This will be his lap, as he will be the first. I think he might be able to just get away with it, but he does put his car P4. We're going to go on board with Alan Hugo, who's starting his lap. He's going to get a little bit of a tow, I believe, from it's going to be on Death Bro. So Alan Hugo is going to get a tow. See what his first sector is. It is a 15.8. So he or Jared, who's going to get pole? Jared is left up to the late. So was Alan Hugo. The sun is out, it is dry, and the gods are here with us to see the end of this qualifying session for the Austrian Grand Prix. We've got DCR Jared coming in, flicking it left, and puts it into 5th gear and then 6th gear. He is currently 4.8 seconds up on his time, as you would expect. As Wadey retires from the session, he will be starting at the back. Most likely is DCR Jared. He coming into the last 2 corners, flicking it right. He's missed the apex a little bit there, but flicking it right once again up to the line. DCR Jared, where is he going to put his car? Oh, he bins it on the line. He invalidated it, as he will not improve. We've got Alan Hugo, who also retired. So DRC Jared and Alan Hugo, the 2 most quick drivers on paper, will be starting last and second last. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted. And that is your grid. New Zealand Venom taking pole by a 10th of a second. And I think it was Wadey. No, it wasn't Wadey. I don't know who got second, but I think that's I think it's Banter in second, and Wadey in 3rd position. So that is your grid for the Austrian Grand Prix. The 2 quickest guys on paper having to start at the back, and since Jared did set a lap on the mediums, he will have to start on that compound of tyre for the race. So New Zealand Venom is on pole, a front row for him in Top Banter. McLaren and Williams will be very impressed with that. I'm Death Bro in 3rd place with Gold Power 89 in 4th place respectively. Pete and Jonah will be filling out the third row of the grid with BRL Methods not being able to improve. He did improve, but it wasn't enough in the end. Me, Wadey in 8th. 9th is DRC Jarrett, and 10th, Alan Hugo. It's going to be a great race to hear today. Make sure not to go anywhere. If you're going to go grab any food, any drinks, any of that, do that now before the race starts. And I do believe it is a heavy rain start. So I think everyone will be starting on the wets. As they, oh my god, the rain is coming down. Jesus, holy mother. I think a few of the drivers will be pooping their pants at the moment because there's rain. I don't even know how we're allowed to start that lap. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Just gonna go get a drink, and you can watch the drivers on the formation lap. Right, I've got my drink next to me. I'm ready for this race. I've got my fingers crossed that it's going to be a fantastic race today. As leading the formation lap will be, I believe it is, New Zealand Venom. He will be the first to get off the line for the debut of BRL APAC. Currently, the formation lap is on, I believe. Yes, it is, as New Zealand Venom is the first to go off the line. We're going to go on with position change for the beginning. We're going to go the gap to interview. We're going to go tyres actually. So they're all starting on the full wets. You can see in the background the fans are also got the umbrellas out. They are not missing this race. And trust me, do not miss this race if you're watching right now. The top two drivers on paper are starting last and second last. It's very mixed with, I know WF1 Ricardo is not league race in about 8-9 months, so we don't know where he's going to be. Pete's using no assists in the rain, so we don't know where he's going to be. BRL Methods first race in BRL APAC. I don't know if he's got BRL on his name, so I do suggest that he does do the American tiers. We've got Dot Banter, who's a reserve. He might win this race and obviously not get any points for it because he is a reserve. So it's going to be a very interesting race. For this part of the lap, they're just going to be getting a feel for the tyres because you never know what the weather's going to be like. As turn 1, there's absolute carnage as we've got the top 10. New Zealand Venom, the car does take over at this point. He will be leading them into turn 1. We've got Top Banter in second. I'm Death Bro in P3. P4 is going to be Gold Power 89. P5 Pete using no assist. WF1 Ricardo in P6. BRL Methods in P7. P8 Wadey. P9 Jared. And P10 is going to be Alan Hugo 04. New Zealand Venom about to put his car, as he will be the first to line up on the grid as well. Make sure not to go anywhere, guys. It's going to be a fantastic race as we've got all 10 drivers about to line up here for the debut of BRL APAC. All cars have lined up on the grid. They're waiting on the 5 lights. The lights are coming on now. We're here onto 5 lights. We are going Austria, and it's a very, very slow start at the front. Looks like New Zealand Venom gets a good start. One of the Gold Power gets a great start from third on the grid, but New Zealand Venom does lead him into turn 1 and P in first. Oh, there's been a spinner. There's a Mercedes round. I think that's WF1 Ricardo and BRL Methods it is. As DRC Jared is already into P5 from starting at the back. Coming now into turn 3, New Zealand Venom. Leading the field, Alan Hugo is I think that was Jared, that was Pete who hits the car, and they're all going absolutely wide into turn 3 as they're all trying to find any sort of grip they can find here in the wet conditions. Jared has gone from I think it's P9 to P4, so he is absolutely flying. But coming into turn 5, we've got Pete who's got, I think that's Gold Power down his inside, he's gone a little bit wide, and Gold Power gets the position. He's got front wing damage, does Pete, but New Zealand Venom leading the way. At the front here, he's got about a second gap over Top Banter 07, who's losing the car, trying to keep it. We've got Pete, who is going side by side with Wadey, coming to sector 3, and Wadey just goes around the outside with that front wing damage. I think Methods also has damage, but New Zealand Venom leading as they start lap 2. Jared will be looking to get all the way to the front as quick as he can. He is currently right behind Death Bro in the Renault, so he has made up 5 positions. Yeah, 5 positions in 1 lap. As they come down into turn 1, we've got Venom leading from Banter, from Death. As we've got Alan Hugo, who's in P5, 6, Wadey, and then 8th, who is Pete. I do believe he stayed out, he has. DCR Jared is right behind Death. Is he going to go for it into turn 3? No, he doesn't. He just sticks back for now. As it looks like Banter is more confident, as we've got Alan Hugo and Gold Power going side by side into the hairpin. Really tight through there, and it looks like Wade is going to try and take advantage on the exit. He's going side by side with Gold Power as they fly into turn 5. Him and the Alfa Romeo driver going side by side. He's got the better straight line speed, but coming into the corner, he does brake later, and he's got a little bit wide though, so that's going to compromise his exit. And Gold Power gets him, shuts the door on him on the exit, and says, "No, you're not getting through as easy as you'd like." That's currently the only battle going right now. They're all trying to just feel the conditions, going as slow as they can, really. As at the back, we've got WF1 Ricardo. I think BRL Methods does have a bit of damage. I can't really tell. And he did spin on lap 1, I do remember that. But at the end of lap 2, New Zealand Venom does lead the way by 1.2 seconds to top Banter 07. 1 second now as they cross the line, and Banter sets the fastest lap. That's a statement, as he is coming for the lead. And DRC Jared, I'm going to get that mixed up. It's too many times to start the season. He's in P4. He's going to be looking to get a good exit, which he does get compared to Death. As they fly into turn 3, he's in the slipstream of Death. Does he go for it? Death will basically just opens the door for him to go down the inside into turn 3, and he does take it, and he moves. Does he move? No, Death is just around the outside. He was not opening the door, and my mistake there, because that was fantastic defending there from the Renault driver, as he just about stays ahead of the Ferrari driver. Does he defend into turn 5? DCR Jared goes for it, but he goes wide, and Death is going to get him on the exit as they are side by side. I think Jared is just going to keep the position on better traction management, and he moves his Ferrari. I did not suspect him to be in 3rd place at the midpoint of 3 laps after qualifying 9th. Alan Hugo does have to catch up, as he can probably see that Ferrari just falling away. And Banter already has a penalty, as the gap is 9/10 between the 2 leaders as they end lap 3 to start lap 4. The biggest battle at the moment is the battle for 3rd, as the front 2 are starting to get away, but I do suspect that Jared will probably catch up to both of them within the coming laps, as Jared looks like he is nice confident in these conditions. So at the moment we're going to look at the biggest gainer, as it has been Jared moving up 6 positions. That's phenomenal. The biggest loser have been the bottom 3, respectively, all of them losing 3 positions. Pete in P8, we've got WF1 Ricardo in P9, and BRL Methods, who is nearly loses the back end. Does WF1 Ricardo, he's in P9, and BRL Methods in P10. But back at the front, Jared is already right behind top Banter 07. He's 8/10 behind. He's already caught up to the back of him. So it looks like he is, based on pace, passing someone is very different to just, being quicker than them. So it looks like he will be favourite to win this race, unless Alan Hugo can pick up some pace. New Zealand Venom also, he's got the gap up to 1.5 seconds to top Banter 07, so he is starting to find his confidence. He's seen that Ferrari that he probably thought he wouldn't see throughout any of this race. He's seen him at the end of lap 4, and he's probably trying to get a move on now, as he's probably hoping that top Banter 07 can probably hold up that Ferrari for as long as he can. But coming into start lap 5, it is heavy rain to begin with. I think that it is going to dry up, because I did get told that it was heavy rain at the start of the race, as Jared does a 1 minute 17.7 respectively. As this yellow flag's in sector 3, I don't know who that's for. I don't know who that's for actually at all. There's a safety car. Safety car is out on lap 5. So this could not be crazier. The start of this race, do not go anywhere. There's a safety car. I don't know why. Don't know who spun, but we never see safety cars. And there is a safety car out at the beginning of lap 5, so I don't know what that's for. There might have been a bit of debris on the track. But this is going to help the likes of Pete, WF1 Ricardo and BRL Methods get back to the pack, as they pass the safety car there. The safety car, it might have been for just the wet conditions, it's not getting any better. And all this is going to do is cool down their tyres, which is going to be interesting on the restart, as Venom is trying to get as much heat as he can into them. With if the track does dry up, and it doesn't look like it started to, but if it does, someone from maybe 8th, any of the bottom 3, 4, they could take a risk here on inters. So this could still get very interesting. Race start, thoughts, very clean. There was a bit of contact into turn 3. I did see that. I got a perfect angle. I did see Mercedes got squeezed or went up the inside, and I think F1 Ricciardo was just a passenger in that. I think he got in 2017 when Kvyat went into Kvyat or whatever you call him. Went into the back of Verstappen, which caused him to spin and go into the back of Alonso. That was basically a carbon copy. But the safety car is out. It is basically helping everyone, as they can cool down the tyres if they're overheating, or heat them up at the restart if they are too cold. Everyone gets a breather, everyone gets to almost, get their head together as the safety car does pick up the leader. So that is very interesting. The safety car is going to be very, very slow, however. Any person who's driven a virtual F1 car, should I say, and safety car conditions, it does feel like 3 laps feel like about 10. So I'm itching to get underway after everyone catches up, so it's more mayhem and more great racing. No crashes. I'm not hoping for crashes at all. But yeah, this is key. Alan Hugo did make up 5 positions, so it's been a good start for him as well. Only 3, the top 2 keeping their positions, as Venom did get a good start off the line and even into turn 3 of lap 1, he was a second ahead of Top Banter 07. But this is a great camera view of how slow Formula 1 cars do go under safety car. The safety car is probably absolutely blitzing it, the drivers in there. They probably feel like they could take on anyone. But the F1 drivers are stuck in 4th gear, and in the corners probably like 2nd gear, and just waiting for it to get underway. I don't actually know what happened. I know that obviously there was a safety car. I thought it was just yellow flags to begin with, but no one's out. No one that I know of has got damage, as everyone has now. As Pete is going to be the first one to pit. Is he going to be taking a risk onto the intermediates, as he is the first to pit in the Ferrari? The crew are coming out now. Let's see what tyres they put on. No, he's just going to go for a front wing change, and he's going to be putting on another set of the wet compound tyres, the number 21. He will be dropping to the back of the field, but by probably the midpoint of this lap, he'll be able to catch up back to the front of the field. 3 people gaining positions. Wadey also keeping it very clean. He has gained up 1 position in the racing point, number 48. As also this gives, as I've already said before, this gives WF1 Ricciardo and BRL Methods a chance to catch up and almost have a chance again. Like, it gives them a bit of another chance of some really decent points, as it looked like they were struggling to begin with in the early phase of the race, but now they can almost wait for the mayhem to occur for itself, as we've got Pete, who is currently 10 seconds behind. He's already going to be at the back of them. But we've got New Zealand Venom. The safety car most likely will come in at the end of the next lap. Normally it stays out for 3 laps. So we'll have to see if the light goes green as they start sector 3 here. He's basically pushing the safety car to go. And does it go green? It does. So the safety car will be coming in this lap. Has Pete caught up? Pete has just about caught up in time. So New Zealand Venom will be leading the way here for the restart. The first safety car restart of BRL APAC. Hopefully not many due to crashes. But he will be looking to get going. Top Banter will be looking as the safety car pulls into the pit. So anytime now, the McLaren driver can go. As Pete, I think he did gain. He did catch back up. And 5-second penalty for Pete for a collision with Methods. I don't know what happened there, but the McLaren driver does decide to start there as Gold Power leaves the session. Mick Wading's got another position 4 with Gold Power, but they are underway here. Looks like Top Banter is going to be under pressure here from, as WF1 Ricciardo spun it on the restart, I believe. But we're going to go on board with him now. I think he's coming into the pits, so I think he might have got damage with someone. I don't exactly know who, but Gold Power is currently 4 seconds behind, so there must have been a crash further back. Apologise for missing it. But we're at the start of lap 8. New Zealand Venom leading the way from Top Banter 07 in the Williams. It's been a treacherous first 8 laps. It doesn't look like the rain's going to get any better. But the top 5 there are all within close proximity of each other. Wadey is 6 seconds back. P7 is I think Wadey's got damage in the force in the I believe. His left end plate is missing. So there must have been a crash as WF1 Ricciardo is just coming out the pits now, as he's basically half a lap down. now, but New Zealand Venom will just be wanting to probably stretch the gap here as they get to the end of lap 8. He's got on the power, and DRC Jared, he's not made the impression I thought he would have made on the restart, but there's, still 28 laps remaining, and the race has already been underway for a solid, 15 minutes. So it also looks like Venom does get a little bit of a squirmy exit. Actually, so does Banter, and this is going to give Jared a very good chance into turn 1. But Venom is leading the way in that McLaren. I think Banter did break a lot later, so he might be really more confident. Then, as we got Wadey also coming to the pits, we'll see what tyres he goes on to. I think he's just changing a front wheel, and he is on the wet condition tyre. Coming into turn 3, is anything going to happen? Oh, a bit of conflict between Top Banter and Venom there, as the top 3 are starting to get away, I think, a little bit from Death. As Death, it looks like he is starting to struggle on the exit, and he's got Alan Hugo for company. But the top 3 down into turn 5. Does Top Banter go for it down the inside? No, he doesn't. I think New Zealand Venom's gone a little bit wide. He has. Oh my god, so does Top Banter 7. But on the exit, it looks like Banter's all over the place. And he's right behind the McLaren driver as they come to start sector 3. Oh, it looks like there's going to be nearly both of them just pushing it to the absolute limits. As Top Banter, he'll be looking to get past. You can see that Ferrari all over him as he's got a little bit. Oh, he's got a bit of squirmy exit, and he's nearly lost the car. And this is going to give Jared a chance coming in to the fast. It's slow actually now, and he squeezes off his opponent. Top Banter still there. There's nearly a bit of contact again, but the Frojo pushes off Top Banter, and this is all this is going to do is give the McLaren and the Death Bro a chance, and Jared pushes his way into second place, and Top Banter 07 drops down into 5th place. But this gives New Zealand Venom a little bit of a breather. He is currently 1 second ahead of DRC Jared, and he will be looking to basically just improve on that. As down the field, WF1 Ricardo back to the back. I think he got spun or did spin, but he got involved with another accident. So unfortunate for him. Wadey also 16 seconds behind. I think he just changed his front wing last lap, as we got Gold Power 7 tenths behind BRL Methods. Back at the front then, New Zealand Venom currently 9 tenths behind. Looks like Death Bro is struggling. He's got Alan Hugo for company in the McLaren. It looks like he has got the more confidence and the better pace at this point in the session, so he'll be looking to make an impact and get into the podium to chase down Jared and his teammates. So team orders might be implied. I do believe Alan Hugo and his teammate are in the same party, so he might be telling Venom, just slow down Jared as much as you can, push him off. Hard racing is fair racing, as they say. But starting lap 11, 6 tenths, half a second is the gap as Jared sets a 1 minute 17.5 as the fastest lap coming into turn 3. I don't know who's got a better exit. I think Venom does keep a big enough gap to hold behind, but Alan Hugo it looks like he's not losing any time, as he's going to go down the inside of I'm Death Bro. Does Death Bro go for it? No, he doesn't. He's basically pushing that McLaren into turn 3 as Alan Hugo moves himself into the podium. It's like BRL Methods is in the pit lane, so he is changing his front wing. He's gone on to another set of hard compound tyres, and he will be, I believe, coming out near WF1 Ricardo. But New Zealand Venom, he's 3 tenths ahead of DRC Jared, with Alan Hugo 2 seconds behind. Not, they're quickest on paper, and it looks like they're quickest at the moment with the track conditions as well. They've gone from 9th and 10th, Jared and Hugo, to 2nd and 3rd. So it looks like they are flying at the moment. I think the rain, I don't know if it's starting to ease a little bit. There might be a little bit of a gap through the clouds. So hopefully a bit of weather changes a few things, and hopefully it turns into F1 Germany. That would be absolutely amazing for the debut, and a great way to kick off the league. If anyone is watching who does want to take part and is from Oceania, make sure to sign up on Twitter. Type in I don't actually know. Just type in Breakout Racing, Breakout RL F1, and make sure to sign up for the Oceania tiers. They will guide you towards us. But is Jared close enough coming into turn 3? He's just about not as we are approaching 1/3 of the way through this race. This has been a great start to the race. Absolutely action-packed. safety car restart didn't really help, as we've got Gold Power in the pit lane. Is he taking any risks, or is he just going on to another set? He's gone on to the inters, so he is the first one to almost take a risk and go on to the intermediate tyres, which shows that the track conditions must be improving. Actually, no, he's an AI car. But the fact that his AI car is on, oh my god, as BRL Methods abuses the track limits there and goes side by side with his ghost car. If his AI car's gone on to inters, that means it's time for inters. The AI cars time it perfectly. 9 times out of 10 is Dovifon Ricardo. Oh, they're all coming in. So they're all coming in for inters. Dovifon Ricardo comes out the pits as they come into this. Important not to speed here. None of them do except for Deathbro, who gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. It's battle of the pit crew here, as Hugo has to keep going. And he just about gets out on time. What is Venom doing? Does he get out on time? He just about does. So it remains the same as his teammate, Pete. Goes past both of them as they come into... oh, Jared, it's important not to hit any of the walls here on the exit. And their gap has stayed the exact same in all the pit stops. It's basically nothing. Jared has got a good run here on Venom coming into turn 3. He's 1/10 behind as they start. Jared's going to go for it down the inside. This is for the net lead of the race, and he overtakes Venom around the outside. Venom's trying to, as Jared gives him the big squeeze and takes provisional P1. But with Alan Hugo, he's 3 seconds ahead of Death here. So he spun it, and Hugo spun it. As I say that, and he spun it, and he has lost the net podium. So it looks like they are struggling on the wet compound of tyres, and with looking like he might be able to challenge for the win here today, as he's going through the beginning of sector 3. DCR Jared is also going to begin sector 3, and now it was Pete who goes a little bit wide. I was nearly crapping myself again, but Death decides to come in. Does Alan follow him in? Yes, he does. As look at them, absolutely struggling. But as they pit and they're behind Jared, he's about to start the pit lane now as he goes wide, and there you can see Jared is coming onto the pit straight with New Zealand Venom. So all of the drivers who stood out an extra lap have absolutely taken the bullet here, as they're coming through turn 1 and Death is only just halfway down the pit lane. So this has also helped Top Banto 7. He's moved up into P3 with all this intermediate change. Hopefully it does go to dries, and that can change some things as well. BRL Methods is currently on the wet tyres. Don't think that's the tyre to be on at the moment, as he is running in 8th place. We've got Jared, he's starting to pull away. He is currently a second ahead of New Zealand Venom. So I think he's going to pull away based on what he's doing now, and he's getting about a 10th every corner. But now this is the time when we take a breather. As we take a breather, I'm going to take a drink. So there we go. 1 second is the gap. Really wet weather here today. I think it's been a great start to the season. The weather has taken a toll. We've got a safety car. We never see them in F1 2019 these days. But I do believe that maybe with this recent patches, Jared sets a 1 minute 15.6, going about 2 seconds quicker on the intermediate tyres, which, I mean, it looks like a lot. It is, but it's nowhere near dry. It's a 1 minute 15. For them to be on dries, they probably want to go another 5 seconds quicker per lap, 4-5 seconds quicker per lap, because for it to be dries, obviously it's got to stop raining. And as you can see on the onboard chart, it is still very much raining, unless your stream quality is not up to scratch. But we've got BRL Methods, who is still on those wet compound of tyres. As I say that, he pulls into the pits. He just about keeps it. No, he doesn't. In the white lines. If that was real F1, he would have got a penalty, but it is a game. However, as he comes into the pit lane, Dovifon Ricardo is going to gain on him, I believe, and go into P9. But DRC Jared, 2 seconds is the gap to his nearest rival, New Zealand Venom. Another 6 seconds back is Top Banter 07 with I'm Deathbro 3 seconds behind. Alan Hugo 3 seconds behind as he is in P5. That mistake, he's probably kicking himself for doing that. As I said that, WF1 Ricardo does jump up ahead of BRL Methods as he comes out the pits. He's about 3 seconds behind. DRC Jared, this is another fastest lap, another 2/10 quicker. So he's either finding confidence or the track is improving, or a bit of both. as it does look the rain is starting to ease a little bit. It's still very much raining, but not as heavy, nowhere near as heavy as the formation lap. However, don't really know what to talk about at the moment. Nothing too much happening. Alan Hugo 04 is keeping the gap to Death. I think Death is starting to gain a bit on Top Banter 07 as he's finding a bit more confidence in his Renault. Here, Jared has got the gap to 3 seconds with New Zealand Venom. Struggling, you'd say he's struggling as he's losing about a second a lap to Jared. But he's still keeping the gap to Death, to Top Banter, Death, and Alan Hugo. So it just shows how solid of a driver DRC Jared is. He is one of the top guys in Oceania, arguably based on form, the second best behind, obviously, New Zealand Ryan. I nearly vomited. It was nothing to do with what I said. I promise. Yeah, that was controversial. He's currently 2.7 seconds ahead of New Zealand Venom, who's, you know, making a name for him today with the debut of BRO APAC. 2.7 seconds. He's not losing as much time as I would have thought. Obviously, confidence is everything here, and with the wet weather in the past, it does seem to favour the controller. But I don't know if that has anything to do with this game or just skill in the wet. No one's really gaining on anyone. Everyone in third, fourth, and fifth are keeping relatively the same gap. As this is a great camera angle, as you can see the racing line really clear here. In real life, you'd want to almost get off that on the intermediates, but since it's a game, anywhere that's dry, you want to be on. Pete is in P6. He's, as you can see that line firmly here. He's P6. He's done it. He's been decent. He is. I'm pretty sure he's using no assist. So I'll have a little look on here for when he breaks into turn 5 when he gets onto the traction. Yes, I know he's running no ABS, and he is not using traction control. So good on him for that. DRC Jared sets another fastest lap, 15.2, another 10th quicker. So he is 4 seconds now ahead of New Zealand Venom. He's lost 4 tenths to Top Banter as they're going. Looks like they're coming up to lap their first cars as WF1 Ricardo and BRL Methods are the first to be lapped. I think he's going to get out the way of Jared here. He's just giving Jared a bit of a slipstream as he lets him through, and that is Jared lapping the first driver here. You could say, you know, people, you know, say there's no point in racing if you're nowhere in the race, but everyone who does finish this race or complete 90% of the race will get points, unless they do crash out or just rage quit. If you do, unfortunately, lose connection and have proof with that, then yeah, you can keep the position. As oh my god, DRC Jared gets past WF1 Ricardo, as you don't normally see lapping in league races, not with 50% anyway. But looks like with these track conditions and, you know, first race, anything can happen, as he's now stretching the gap to 4.3 seconds. Top Banter 07 is slowly but surely getting reeled in by I'm Death Bro. About half a tenth a lap. Oh, actually, basically they're doing the exact same thing as New Zealand Venom gets a 3-second penalty. So, don't want to get too many penalties in any league race, obviously. You know, it just costs you unnecessary time. You know, you might gain half a tenth to lose 3 seconds at the end of it. Obviously, I'm one to talk because I'm really good at getting penalties, but it's easier said than done as a driver's view, because you're trying to find every bit of time you can, especially in these conditions. It's very easy to go wide, turning too early, because I mean, if you don't use racing line, which I believe 2 or 3 use no racing line in this set. I know Jared, I know Alan Hugo does, and I probably one other. Excuse me, Pete might be, I don't know, if he's still using race line, but with braking, at any time it can just snap on you, the car, and with using no assists, it can really hinder you. 3 seconds is the gap between Death and Banter, as Jared sets another fastest lap, another 2/10. So it looks like the track is starting to improve quite rapidly, and is still very much coming down though. So Alan Hugo gets his first penalty. If the rain would like to stop with about 5 laps to go, that would be perfect. So if you pitted, you know, you got to catch them up. But then if you don't pit, then you get track position. But it's been this is the breather part of the track. But yeah, good start, great start. Nothing really to talk about at this moment, as we've got currently all 10 drivers have made it. There's been a few crashes this race, however. I think at the beginning of the race there was a collision with Methods, and at the restart of the safety car, I believe, there was a restart. And further, as Vios pass power to move up into 9th place. We've got Top Banter 07, who is starting to gain again on now to 7.5. To lose everyone's points. So it's an interesting 3 seconds the gap between Top 07. Since we've got nothing else to do right now, we're going to go through the drivers who are currently not here today. So we're in the... Oh, it's gone wide! Oh, commentators... I think that's Hugo. He does believe, and Methods, he's just got caught up in that. I'm really struggling at the moment to get these tyres to sim above his closest rival. So I've just lost about 5 seconds in that. It looks really... ERS is not flashed to pit anytime soon. Yeah, he is really struggling at the moment. We're going to go and the current drivers. So teaming up in with Methods, who is currently here today in the Renault 4th and 8th respectively for them. Me and Grizzy are in the here today. We need all the drivers we can get right now, as this league is just more recognition. Derek Kidd, unfortunately not here today. I don't know exactly why, but cannot part. Just Jared nearly the back end. Like the track it is still raining out there. So just going from heavy rain to light rain. I wish you could have a look at the weather forecast, because that would really help. Codemasters, make sure to implement that. That would be helpful. But yeah, we've JR TP17, who was into 07, gained about 3/4 tenths on make that half a second now, so he's finding confidence. Death does stay for another set of inters, but he stays out. Guys just but 2.5 seconds behind Top Ants at the clock track, as we're going for a lap to have a look at the condition. Been streamed nearly an hour to the... It's been a really good start to the race. For the 15 laps it was well good, but the last 10-15 after that it's been a bit of a lie. But you know, that's with racing, you got to be patient sometimes, and anything can happen. It could just stop raining right... Oh, I thought it literally just stopped raining, but it could be raining in 2 laps time, and it could be for anyone. DC Jared 9.2 seconds ahead of anyone at the moment, as he is first places at the moment. Second last, he is not actually still racing, is unfortunately WF1 Ricardo 3. He of an incident turn 1. I do believe that was just got collected. What happened with the safety, didn't see it, but he's finished that. He might love the top 5, 6th, 8th, and 10th, all stopping twice with WF1 Ricardo on his 3rd stop. So I'm gonna go aboard with what tyre they're on. It's between Jared, as he's currently is into. I do believe we're any better. More light rain for the last. I think we're gonna get unless the weather gods can just make them either open or just completely close. So that 10 seconds now. 10 of Venom. So he, without any penalties, I will check the situation now. So we've got DRC Jared, who is not even on 1 warning, very consistent for him today. A penalty for Venom. I think Banter also has a penalty and another warning, so they're even. Deathbro has got Alan Hugo has got a penalty. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th have got a penalty. Me Wadey's got a 5-second time penalty, which I do believe he served at the pit stop. Penalty which he served at the pit stop. Beer Methods has got 2 warnings at the moment. Dofon warnings. Mr. Consistent of him, and Gold Pals AI. Obviously no warnings there. But as we spent doing, Jared's pulled another 2.5 on Steel and Venom at the front, as he's starting to struggle, as Top Banter is 2 seconds now. So the McLaren driver will start the wheel. His mirrors here, so don't go anywhere if you are watching, because it looks like the track is starting to get a bit better as well, as DRC Jared still going faster. 11 seconds is the gap as New Zealand Venom. This is the line. Top banter exactly 2 seconds behind.